Hey, this is Pastor Jay with your word for today, daily devotional. Hey, listen, have you ever thought about how much fakeness is in the world? How nothing is real, especially with AI. Everything is not what it seems to be. I remember watching MTV. My kids had me watch a show called Catfishing. And catfishing was about people who used their voice to portray one thing, but their image was totally different than their voice. It was fake. Have you ever seen knockoff Gucci watches, pocketbooks, shoes? There's a place in New Jersey you can go and get a whole lot of knockoffs. And if you don't know the authentic, you'll get deceived into thinking you have the real thing and it's not real. You know, Jesus talked about that when he talked about fruit. And even when he talked about ministry, he said, beware of false prophets. You know, there's a whole lot of voices in the world, and you and I have got to be able to distinguish the true voice of God between the fake voices that are out there. We've got to be careful. We've got to be careful because everybody's trying to get your attention to get you to go in the wrong direction. Jesus said this. He used the tree as an analogy. He said, a tree is known by its fruits. So, you know, we've been juicing, my wife and and I noticed that when she picked up apples, there's different kinds of apples. There's Macintosh, there's Red Delicious, there's Granny Smith's, different types of apples. I like the Red Delicious. When I see a Red Delicious apple, I can know that apple by the way it presents itself. Unfortunately, people are not like apples. Sometimes they present themselves to be one thing and they're something else. How do we know how to distinguish people who are authentic, people who are real, people who are genuine? How do we know how to know who is a true to whom they are, true to themselves, and they're not being fake? Jesus told us. He said in Matthew 7:16, he said, by their fruit, you'll know them. By their fruit. What do you mean by their fruit? People are in apple trees. They don't have fruit hanging off of them. I read it in a couple of different translations. I think it'll bring some clarity to you so that you can know who is authentic and know people by their fruit. Because if not, you're going to get burned. You're going to start or getting, just like fruit, you bite into a piece of fruit and realize, this is nasty. People can be the same way. You go into a relationship with someone and you realize that what they put on display was not the content. And so Jesus said this. He said, by their fruit, you will know them. One Bible translation says, by the way they act. Oh, Lord Jesus. You know and I know that we've let people into our life that they act one way for a moment and then they switched up on us and their actions changed. They were not who they said they were. They acted like a fool when they said they were a saint. One translation said, you can tell what they are by what they do. Pray for me. Because a lot of times people will do one thing or say one thing and then they switch up on you and hurt you. I know that as you have gone through life, that there have been people that you thought were authentic, but they were fake. They had a saying in the world, they put their best foot forward, but you realize that their other foot wasn't even straight. And they lied, they were not authentic. I want to caution you to watch people's behavior. Watch the way they talk, because the way they act and the way they talk is going to have an impact on the authenticity of their fruit. By their fruit, you'll know them. We are to inspect people's fruit because you don't want to be hooked up with a fruity person.